This fourth of 4 draft narrative chronologies shares selected content from audio tapes I recorded and mailed to my family in Massachusetts about my work and life in the Northern Mariana Islands from September 1978 through February 1979. Unfortunately, only 5 usable audio tapes survived from those 3 months, September, October, and February. There are none between March and August. And I found only one audio tape, 1982, for the following 4 years that I worked in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. It is extremely unlikely those years of missing audio tapes still exist. The accompanying draft transcript, available in the KPV collection website, section KN4, identify the date each tape was made, if known, and the audio tape number in the KPV collection. In the future, additional content will be selected from written and audio materials to provide a more complete narrative of these years.
Today is September 10th. I sent you a letter when we were just going into a storm warning and having all sorts of power problems and all sorts of stuff. And then had a friend, Lydia Tysican from Rhoda, arrive, and she spent the week here. And then she left Saturday morning. And then Saturday afternoon, my friend Patsy Lane from Hawaii, she'd been hired to work a week in Guam, flew over to spend a couple days with us. So we've pretty much had quite a bit of company. Patsy's just been offered 2 jobs from USAID in 2 different countries, and just got back from Indonesia doing a workshop there, and she works with our curriculum development. And I was really pleased that she came over from Guam to spend the weekend with us. And we went out to have brunch at the Continental on Sunday, which we usually do, which was nice, and we went swimming. We have what's called here planned outages, which I think is an interesting way of putting it, but anyway. I guess we're switching over to another system of power, from the power barge to another system. I'm not too clear on it. It was interesting, when after we had the flooding, a team was sent in to do some kind of survey of the rivers and how high yeah. And one of them's the husband of, one of the fellows is the husband of one of my friends, and they got here, and you know, people aren't used to the Saipan hotels being full. So all the hotels were full. So they stayed with us, the 2 fellows and the wife, for about 3 days. And I learned a lot about, you know, measuring rivers and rainfall and all that kind of stuff. And there were gorges cut that were 10 feet deep by the rains. A lot of live munition that washed down. We still have more water than we should. I'm even putting in a claim, since we were declared a disaster area, and all the bilingual mats were used for in the shelters for all the people that lost their homes and had no place to sleep. So the bilingual project lost about $1,000 worth of mats. It's a whole other problem, so I have to go down to the disaster relief office by October 16th to make my claim. And we had sent 5 boxes of materials up to Pagan in the Northern Islands, and the ship went in the storm. So we lost, and the education had sent up a whole bunch of stuff, so a lot of stuff was lost on that. I'm still debating this conference in Washington. My schedule is just, I wish this conference were later in October. I've got a big evaluation report that's almost finished that's supposed to be in Washington December 30th. Next week I've got a director of the Materials Development Center who's going to be here for 3 days, that I'm hosting a director's meeting for the Trust Territory. and Northern Marianas and Guam the next 3 days. And I don't know. I think we just may leave that till later. It's just taken this much time to get things together again that I kind of hate to break into it, although I should go to this meeting and I'm budgeted for it, but I'll have to figure that out. Well, I'm redesigning my office. I just made a contract for about $4,000 for building cupboards and stuff. And got my artist to do a sketch of the new design, and have moving different people to different parts, and I'm setting up an office for the professors that are going to come in. I'm considering changing jobs, haven't quite figured that out yet. There's a whole bunch of things going on, but I could be Title I state director, because right now I'm bilingual director. I can stay being bilingual director. I could be federal programs coordinator. And then there's a position right under the superintendent, and it goes two directions. One is administration and the other is programs, school programs director or something. That would be a position increase. Not a federal program position, but a regular budget position. That won't open up for a while. If I want to try for that job, then I probably should stay Title VII or bilingual director. I'm writing a Title I project to supplement my Title VII project in terms of finances, and I'm designing the grade 1 to 5 curriculum. I worked on that with Patsy over the weekend, and that's going pretty well. Language research is going pretty well. I have two linguists here now, one working on Chamorro and one working on Carolinian. And it's very nice to hire other people to handle all these things. We've got an anthropologist here. That's Jeff Marks is working on, he's an anthropologist. And all these courses going on. Anyway, haven't quite figured out exactly what would be best to do. It's nice to have some choices, and it makes a difference in terms of, actually with the Title VII I do a little bit of everything. The San Jose State thing is going pretty well. I've been put in charge of planning a Pan-Pacific conference, which should be interesting. Washington asked me to coordinate that, and that'll take a certain amount of energy, but should be interesting. I haven't decided whether to have it in Hawaii or have it on Saipan. Be good to get some of those Washington people to hear it to Saipan if we could. And there's some things on the West Coast. All of my staff are going through all sorts of turmoil and different family situations and such. One of my staff members is, her husband has left, and she is seeing one of the senators who was also married, and they have lunch together, and I'm supposed to do something about it, but I haven't figured out what. Of course, there's nothing I can do about it. It's interesting that anybody thinks I could or would, but we've got a few other staff members in different situations. It's, living here, you get totally involved in all these different things. I sent a fellow to Tarawa. I'm not sure I'm saying it right, the Gilberts, Tawawa or something, for a month. That should be interesting. I never sent anybody to the Gilberts before. And I've kind of been wanting to have us go more into the Pacific area. He's going to be taking a course in folklore collection. That's going to have people from all the Pacifics. It's being paid for by the Gilberts government. And he took samples of, we've had a folklore course here and collected folklore, and he's taking samples of that too to Tarawa there. But there's really funny, they sent him his ticket in Australian dollars, and then they're paying his room and his meals, and they're giving him $2.50 a week for expenses. Just $2.50? Yeah, just $2.50 for expenses.
It's a Sunday. It must be the 14th, 15th. It must be the 15th today. We've had, as usual, a busy time yesterday we went on a field trip. I think I've mentioned the project that I have with San Jose State University. Fellow Don Smith and I are associate directors of it here on Saipan. And the first course has started. It's a science course, and the professor is here for 6 weeks. And I'm supposed to observe 2 or 3 classes and write evaluations on them. So yesterday, Lisa and I went on a field trip to observe it, and it was quite interesting. We went up to over to Bonsai Cliff, and then up to Suicide Cliff, and then down to Bird Island, and he explained the different types of rock formations. And we looked at a map of the world, and he explained how the continents had divided in the Marianas Trench and what it was and what caused volcanoes. And we looked at different types of rocks and did some experiments. And now Lisa's interested in going to the class some, which I think we'll do. I think she had a good time on the field trip. I've got an evaluation report that's supposed to already be into Washington that I'm going to finish today. I have a pretty busy schedule set up next week. It's quite complicated to go into. I'm not even sure it's that interesting, but for one, I've got to testify for legislature on Tuesday on whether road signs should be in Chamorro on Saipan. I haven't written my testimony yet, and then on Wednesday I've got an advisory council meeting, and we'll be working on quite a few things on that. That'll take most of the day. And Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the directors for the Trust Territory and for Guam will be here. And they're working with bilingual education, and we're going to have a conference, and I'm hosting that. So that's going to pretty much take up 3 days. And will be pretty important because the Guam legislature sent over a bill to the Marianas legislature about having joint work. Guam's been considering changing the spelling system for Chamorro. And I had to go down and testify on that. That was about 3 hours in front of the Health, Education, and Welfare Committee here. And then the next day had to spend the morning with the governor, preparing him to meet with Senator Ogden, who was coming from Guam, to meet on this issue. And then spent 3 hours with her. So this has been quite complicated, and been working with my staff and the linguists that we have here at different times. And right now the Marianas does not intend to change spelling systems, but we'll see what happens. But the whole thing got all involved because there were all these newspaper articles, and there was a front page story quoting me as saying that the problems in Guam were personal and not professional, which wasn't exactly what I'd said. I would send you the articles if I thought they were accurate, but the funny thing, I thought people would be upset, and all these people on Saipan came up and were really pleased that I was speaking out, standing up for the Northern Marianas against Guam. So it'll be interesting. It's been a bit involved. It's been kind of time consuming. So I drafted legislation, and that went to the legislature and was presented Thursday. And I'm working on language policy legislation, but we've had a lot of other things going on in this report, this evaluation report that I'm behind on, that it's going to get pretty well set today. I've got my 3 administrative assistants working overtime all this coming week, so we'll get that set and out to Washington. I finally finished my trip report for the summer and my some of the conferences I had when I got back. So that's been kind of involved. But meanwhile, the people that are coming from Guam are friends.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Mine is here to borrow your tea.
Ah, okay. Wait a sec.
I thought you were at home.
Oh, okay. That was the fellow I have. I redesigned our office. We've got more people now. I have 3 new writers, 5 new writers, and we just didn't have enough space for everything. And I'm not much of an office designer, but I didn't have any place to turn, so I kind of redesigned it, and I've hired people to build cabinets. So I guess they're going to go down and work. It's Sunday. They're going to go down and work. So that was a fellow just come to get the key to the office so he could work. My artist wife is going to give me a whole bunch of plants. I was up to their house the other day, And she just has beautiful, beautiful plants, all sorts of hanging plants with different kinds of flowers and all sorts of things. So she's going to plant a whole bunch of plants for me, which will really be nice. My plants aren't in such good shape. And we...
why do you have them on the box?
Because I'm going to take my old plant containers and she's going to replant them for me. Put in new plants. And then I'll give you the job of watering them every day. In the past, the government here, I've had money taken out of my check every pay period for the mowing of the lawn and the garbage removal. But they just increased the rate. It used to be $4 roughly a month for the mowing of the lawn, which isn't bad. I've got a great big lawn. But they raised it, and now it's like $14 a month. So I've hired Isaac Calvo is one of his boys. Isaac's, the acting director of education, and he's got, 12 children? 13 children, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
12, I think. Anyway.
Wait, let me count. Marian, Lucy, Clara, Felix, Tom, Eddie, Joseph, Joe, Felix.
He's got 4 at school in the States.
I know.
1 at school in Guam. Well, anyway, so one of the
15.
boys... 15, I think. Okay, well, I'm not sure. Anyway, one of the boys came up and mowed the lawn yesterday and did a real nice job getting all around in the house and stuff. So that's going to work out pretty well. Better than having the government do it. You mentioned being worried about us because of the weather. I don't think you have to worry. This is the time of year when we have storms, but we're always safe. We get plenty of warning for any type of storm, and I'm very careful and cautious. If it seems like a storm might be serious, we board up the house and move into a solid cement structure. Our house has cement walls but has a tin roof. And I never know whether you do know what's happening, so I don't like to not mention. For example, when we were declared a disaster area after the flood, that's the type of thing you might hear. So I do like to mention it, that everything's okay. There's no reason to worry, and we have lots of help, if there's any kind of problems. So, I guess before we didn't always get such good warning, but now we do. I got another letter from this place in Oregon that wants me to do some training in the Pacific. And I'm considering doing it. It would certainly be a good thing to have on my resume. I think I've got 5 months of leave built up at this point in time. It would be a good way to branch out. I've written a paper to present at the conference. I guess it's going to be in Seattle or some San Francisco. Asian Pacific Bilingual Conference. That's in April. And the TESOL conference is in Boston, and I may go to that. A lot will depend on the timing of everything in terms of doing all this. We're kind of so comfortable here that it gets hard to travel. I was glad that I decided not to go to this meeting in Washington. Henry's back from it, and it just would have been too disruptive to have come back to all these problems that happened while we were gone, or while I would have been gone, and just wouldn't have been able to have been relaxed. But now that the new government is settling down some, it's getting a little easier. But the governor's going to be suggesting school board members soon, and that'll be another time. Jesus Alamato, my Carolinian director, is getting married next Saturday. Last night, went to a shower for him and his new bride, Vicky, or his new fiance or whatever. And that should be a lot of fun. Jesus is pretty old for here, for not being married. He's in his 30s. Vicky's 20-something, and we've had long discussions with Jesus and with Vicky and everything, so it's kind of fun. The shower was very nice. Showers are a new thing here. They just started about 2 years ago. And I was a sponsor. I'm become more and more of a sponsor of some of these things, and your name's printed on this long list, and then you invite people. So I invited some people to come, and the sponsors gave them a bed and a dresser and a lamp and a fan. And then the other guests bring different types of gifts, and of course we had meal, and I brought drinks. And so we'll have quite a time. We'll have the Guam people here. We're going to go out dancing on my birthday, and we'll have all sorts of parties, so it should be quite an interesting time. Hi. Our newspaper just arrived. Sunday Daily News from Guam. I actually read the paper now very carefully. I've been, quoted by someone who's listened to what I've said and letters to the editor and stuff, so I don't always even like getting the paper, but we'll see. I'm writing an article to be printed in Islander, I hope, if I ever get it done. But I may never get it done, so it may not make any difference. This fellow on Guam and I are co-writing it, but I don't seem to get the time to finish it. Anyway, the paper is delivered every day about 11 or so. The hotels are full now. I was making reservations. We have a music professor coming in January, and the Continental's full. No room for him now in January. I'm having to work other things out about that. And car rentals are getting more difficult as this becomes more of a luxury, I don't know, whatever type of place to get away, whatever. We're not getting so much rain now. We're moving into the drier part of things, and things are starting to dry up more.
Okay, it's October 23rd. Right now we're in typhoon condition 3, and somehow that always spurs me on to make tapes because I never know what's going to happen. I guess there's a really big typhoon heading this way. I don't think it's heading right to us right now. Rhoda and Guam are in condition 2. And today was supposed to be a holiday on our original calendar, as was tomorrow. Today was scheduled as Veterans Day, but the fellow that makes up our calendar didn't know that it had been changed. And then up until Friday, we thought we were celebrating UN Day today, but the governor came out with a thing and said we wouldn't. Meanwhile, all the kids had been sent home and told there was no school until Wednesday. And anyway, I decided just to take leave for these 2 days since Lisa's not in school and catch up on things. I still have a paper I haven't written, and I've been pretty busy. I had quite a time last week. Let's see, I had to go down to the Senate and give testimony on a bill for signs to be in tomorrow in the Northern Marianas, and then I had to go down and testify on funding for the Carolinian Dictionary in the House, and that was a really heavy session. There was a number of problems, and it was all morning. And then I hosted a meeting with the Guam directors, and that went quite nicely. But it was, again, very busy. But we had a nice time on Friday, which was my birthday. Lisa gave me a present. Rose had taken her shopping, and she gave me a really pretty vase with flowers. And I had a marmar, that's the circle of flower things to wear at work. And it has,
Smells very good.
yeah, they put in special things that smell good. Yeah. Then we had a party that night, and we went out dancing.
You did.
Yeah, Lisa didn't go out dancing that night, but was given a shark. One of my staff that had just come back from the Gilberts gave me a fighting weapon with shark's teeth on it. That's really interesting, and a fan. And I had some perfume. We had a big table where we went dancing with one of the hotels. It's a Chamorro band, and we had champagne to drink to toast my birthday, and a lot of dancing. Went to the Grand Hotel. And then the next day, Jesus got married, and so we went to a lunch at his house. We had meetings in the morning, which we did planning with the Guam and Trust Territory people, and then we went to eat at Jesus' house. Lisa came. Then we went shopping. We bought a new dress. Lisa got a new dress.
My grenades.
Yeah, and then we went to Jesus' wedding.
Yeah, that's in church.
Yeah, and then we got set, and then we went to the wedding the bride's family gave. And
Yeah,
that
but
was,
I didn't go to that.
yeah, Lisa had a babysitter. She could have gone. She was welcome to go, but she didn't want to.
But you said it was okay that I went to one party.
Yeah, Jesus would have been upset if she hadn't gone to one. So then Jesus is my Carolinian director, and we had a really good time. Then yesterday, we went to Forbidden Island. The science professor leaves Saturday, and then a new one comes in the Friday before he leaves. And I had promised to take him to Forbidden Island, and wow, what a time we had. We all met up here at the house at 9 o'clock.
There's this cold water pool. Boy, it's like cold water from the shower. It's so clear. All it has is rocks at the bottom, it seems like. It's so clear that you don't even... It's hard to think that it's salt water.
Yeah.
Here.
The road, nobody had been down there since the flood.
It was like someone dug it up.
Yeah, and the road was impassable. And we had to haul in logs. And in the gully was up to my shoulders at one place. And it's only a single, in the middle of the road, that ditch in the middle of the road. And we had to fill it full of rocks, and my artist, Katu, was driving. He had his son along with him, and
He's a very good driver.
yeah, he's an excellent driver. And somehow we made it up. They had to take a machete and cut down trees across the road. It was incredible.
It's about an hour.
Yeah, so we finally made it to the place where you go to walk down. And it's quite a long walk down. It's a longer walk up. And we rested, and we cooked hot dogs, and
It seems like
we snorkeled. Lisa saw fish. We basked and found... She caught crabs, and we found...
Johnny and I didn't catch both of us.
And then we climbed where Lisa's saying we had to go through the rocks into this pool that's inside, and it's really cold water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, it's not cold by your standards, but it's cold by ours. We made a good time swimming in there. And then about 3 o'clock, we climbed out, and we made it down without any mishap. And then Dr. Sprain took us out for dinner. We went,
Only
yeah, just Lisa and me.
he didn't
Birch and Ruth were having dinner with the SRA man, and they invited me, but I thought I could do without having dinner with the SRA man.
I thought you were asking for an invitation. But you
I was just teasing them. It's books. It's a kind of individualized learning.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's because they're like books you make for school.
yeah, right.
Because our class has some of those kinds.
Yeah, your class probably uses SRA. I had clams and coconut milk for
At the
dinner
restaurant.
at the restaurant.
They
Yeah.
come at the Cheerio house or something. And I had fried fish.
Yeah, Lisa had fried fish. And then today I went down into the office and did a couple things. Just worked from about 7 to 8, and then came home and we've been cleaning up. Lisa's finished her room. She just went through all her drawers, and I'm doing laundry, trying to get everything. We do have a storm. It's always nice to have everything clean.
And you filled the gas.
Our newspaper just arrived.
Want me to go get it?
Okay. Lisa's going to get the newspaper. I almost hate to read the newspaper these days. I was quoted in a front page article, all these things about more orthography and stuff. It was a little bit embarrassing. I've tried pretty hard to keep out of the newspaper, and a reporter came in to sit in on our meetings, and it looks like there's not much way to keep out of it at this point, and I have to go down and give this testimony and stuff because I'm asked to. And so anyway, there's been a lot of stuff in the paper. The front story is Typhoon Rita races towards Guam. Under darkening storm clouds, Guam civilian and military yesterday began tucking away valuables, anticipating the arrival of Typhoon Rita, expected to pass south of the island tomorrow morning. Alright, that's tomorrow morning, okay. Well, we're north of the island, so if it passes south of Guam, we're not going to get much.
Good.
All public and private schools will be closed today to allow Gov Guam workers to prepare typhoon relief shelters there.
Yeah, but Mom,
Aha.
the schools are, it's a day out.
Well, no, not really, not every place. Weather reports 11 p.m. last night predicted Typhoon Rita would pass 46 to 52 miles south of Naval Air Station around 4 a.m. Tuesday, dumping heavy rains and high winds on Guam and the Northern Marianas. If following its predicted track and intensification, Rita will be a super typhoon when it passes south of Guam with winds at or exceeding 150 miles near the center. Oh, gusting to 170. Winds near the center of the typhoon were reported at 145, gusting to 175. Okay. Well, it looks like we probably won't. They may even let us off at work today. I may have picked a good day to just miss work. I brought stuff home. Oh, and here they have it, little map pointing the way.
Typhoon.
Yeah, I'm glad the Guam people made it home.
If they were here, they'd be in better hands.
Well, they'd be worried about their families. That time I was on Rhoda and there was a typhoon here. Anyway, that probably won't hit. We'll probably be okay. Let's see. With the Guam people, we scheduled all sorts of meetings. We're going to have a Pacific meeting in Hawaii in February, and then the bilingual conference. We're trying to get somebody from the Pacific named to the National Bilingual Conference. And we're trying to work on get contacts with different U.S. senators and congressmen to work on that. There's going to be 4 positions opening up on that council. So I'll be sending letters out. If you have any particular ins with any senators or congressmen, you could let me know. I'll send you a letter to send on. We drafted up a letter to send. It's an interesting, I think, I'm learning a lot working on writing legislation and testifying and working with the governor's office and such. I think it's a good experience for me. Even if it's small time, it's still the whole process. In writing this language commission bill, I had to see the governor and the Speaker of the House and a lawyer and work on all the different parts of it. And probably next week I'll be testifying on it. And it takes quite a bit of time, but my responsibilities for running the detailed parts of the project are not as great now that Henry and Jesus are becoming very good at that. I think it's a good learning experience for me. Isaac's our director of education has just gotten back from a trip to Indonesia. There's superintendents for different states that went. I guess it was quite an experience. I'm designing a little booklet for evaluation by the teachers. And I'm still trying to get these articles I'm written. I keep getting them drafted and not getting them done. And it's one of my aims for today. My Pacific collection of books is coming along pretty well. I'm getting things filed. The articles like that you send me and stuff, all those things are getting into filed places so that I can use them. I'm thinking about hiring someone to work for me part-time on getting some of that stuff in order for doing research. But I've got to find the right person. That's the main problem.
What do you mean,
Well, finding somebody that I want to do that. Mariana's is voting now on whether to allow gambling, which is a big issue.
No. For gambling, right?
What?
No for gambling.
Yeah, I'd vote no for gambling. I think it would be bad for a place this size. The typhoon has gone by. Just had heavy winds and rain last night. And I don't think too much damage was done to Guam. It passed south. I guess it's gotten quite a bit larger, but it's no longer a danger to here. Been able to unboard the house and get things back to normal. The dog's right here. She wants to go out. We pulled in the puppies, so now we're going to have to put them back outside. I didn't go to work today. I stayed home with Lisa because the schools were closed, and it's UN Day, which was supposed to be a holiday. I may have mentioned this earlier, but there was a mix-up on. And the governor declared that it wouldn't be a holiday for Northern Mariana. So, meanwhile, we had already let the kids out of school, and would have for the storm anyway. It was too rainy to have school in the louvered classrooms. Anyway, so she'll be going to school tomorrow. Sound asleep right now, and I'm just catching up with some correspondence and getting some things set to go out in the mail tomorrow. I'm pretty sure there'll be mail tomorrow. The planes will be flying okay. Jesus' wedding, the party at his house was mostly just all Carolinians, very much of a family party. That is custom here, traditional custom, for there to be a party at the groom's house and at the bride's, where the bride's family gives a party, and that can be quite interesting and quite heavy. I'll just backtrack a little bit on the testimony of the legislature also. We're trying to get $24,000 for the research and printing of the Carolinian Dictionary, and I was testifying in favor of that, and the legislature is concerned that the governor hasn't sent the budget yet, and they want to know more details about the budget. So if we're using this time as a way of finding out more about the testimony, that, you know, if it was important, why wasn't it included in the education budget and that sort of thing, and which really didn't relate to the exact testimony, and which I wasn't prepared to answer. And actually, even if I had been, the governor had sent out word that he did not want any of the details of the budget discussed with the legislature, so would not have been able to do so, even if I had been aware of all the details of the budget. But it was a quite interesting hearing, lasted for quite a while. The one at the Senate went much more easily. I testified in favor of using international signs, although I don't know what the international signs are. It seems to me I saw them once. There must be some place we could write in and get them. We never have much time in order to prepare for some of these things. Anyway, I had a music course going on the whole month of January. I think you're aware that I'm the associate director for a training project with San Jose State University. And we had a music class going on in January with a professor coming from San Jose. And so when the professors are here, I have a certain amount of things that I have to do while they're here in terms of pre-testing, post-testing, evaluation, class observations, and making sure the professor has everything that he needs. The class is taught 4 nights a week for 3 hours. It was kind of unfortunate that I was so busy with other things that I wasn't able to do as much with him as I would have liked to have. He offered to give Lisa some lessons and do some things, but I ended up just being able to do minimal things. So I ended up meeting with him at 6:30 in the morning before I went to work, and in the evenings some, but we got through that okay. Then I had an evaluator here for a period of time, evaluating some things to do with the San Jose project and some other things, and of course he had to have a schedule of meeting with different people and doing that, as well as meeting with me and then getting feedback on what he had. Then I had a community workshop for 1 week and hired consultants from a place called Northwest Regional Lab in Portland. And so they were here, and they went for 2 days to Tinian and 2 days on road, and we had a 4-day workshop here. And of course all that involves renting hotel space, TAs for travel, making sure all the supplies are there, the selection of 5 members from each committee, meeting with advisory council members, and then being at the workshop, making presentations in terms of the bilingual program and all the things that go with that. Then the week before that, I'd had a management workshop with the Guam people and Trust Territory people coming here to Saipan to take part in that, which was aimed at bilingual directors. I hired consultants to do that, and had to take part in that as well as run it. And then the San Jose director was here to do pre-work on the proposal. And then, so that's just been all the extra stuff that I've been doing in addition to all the stuff I have to do with, running the project, the legislature, and all that sort of stuff. So I apologize for not writing, and I really just didn't have much choice. Lisa went to Guam one of the weekends, flew to Guam and visited our friend Rosa Palomo and stayed with her family, which was really nice. I was glad that she went, and that was good. I'm now trying to catch up on all the things that fell behind while I had this schedule, and I'm trying to get ready, of course, to go to Hawaii. I'm going to have to be doing a lot of different things there. I'm having to do assessments of community and teacher needs and a number of things in preparation for that. And I've just been asked to be part of a panel at the International Bilingual Conference in Seattle. That'll be in April. And been asked to do some other things with that. So I'm getting that together. The car passed inspection. Every year we have to get the car inspected. Last week when he did that, and it passed. Yeah, we got a new license plate for the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana. And the advisory council is getting quite active. When I had the management workshop, it was very interesting because one day the Speaker of the House of Representatives dropped by and spent the morning with us. And we were discussing how to work with the governor and the legislature in Washington. Had an interesting exchange. And then the following day, we invited everybody in the workshop to lunch. February 11th, according to Lisa here. Lisa, do you want to tell them what you're going to be doing while I'm in Hawaii?
I'm going to stay with a friend that has a little baby. His name's Donna and the baby's name is Angelo. And I'm just going to go to Hawaii for meetings, and then that's where we're going to, Uncle David and Aunt Karen, going to come back with them.
Yeah. Lisa's going to take her bicycle down to Donna's.
As soon as we get it fixed.
Yeah, I've got to have another flat tire. So we've been packing Lisa's stuff to go to Donna's and my stuff to go to Hawaii. And we have friends staying here while we're gone. And she's moved in. So for the next 3 days, we'll have some extra people here, which is just fine. I've been asked by Washington to be part of a panel at the International Bilingual Conference, and I'm on Pacific, and I'm pleased about that. I will be going to the Asian Pacific Bilingual Conference. Let's see, I am going to go to the Asian Pacific Bilingual Conferences April 25th to 28th, and that's in San Francisco, and then the International Bilingual Conference is May 4th to 9th, and that's in Seattle. And then I'm going to be making presentations at San Jose State University May 10th to 12th, as that stands right now. We've had some changes in the office. The man who's been in charge of higher education for the teachers and Marianas has resigned. He's going to be moving to California. I'm really, really sad about that. His name is Don Smith. And his wife's quite unhappy out here. They've been here for 4 years, and they were in Truck 2 years. And we work very, very well together. We're associate directors of the San Jose project, and I'm really going to be very, very sorry to see him leave. He's an excellent worker and very, very nice person. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to be made acting in his position. Did a lot of thought on this before deciding. You know, there's been a number of jobs that have come up that I have considered. One was Federal Programs Coordinator, and I thought that one through the position for the Marianas and for the Department of Education. I decided that with the staffing and salary problems out here, that would end up being more a policing job than a innovative arranging job, and decided I did not want it, although there was some pressure for me to apply for that. The Title I jobs come open. I really like my job very much, but I feel that philosophically it's time for me to work on having somebody else in there that I'm training who is Chamorro or Carolinian. I think, you know, the coordinator for bilingual bicultural education, I think, should be more bilingual bicultural than I am, probably. I'll be going to Guam Thursday with the superintendent and Don and be formally introduced to the people there as taking that job, probably. And on my way to Hawaii, this will also involve being in charge of Teacher Corps. I'll move my administrative assistant under the San Jose project with me, and while I'm gone, she'll be learning all the technical parts of it. It means I'll have a smaller staff, which I think I'll probably enjoy. My total payroll on my staff right now it's gone down some. I think it's in the 40s, 43 people or something. And, well, it's a lot of work. I work pretty hard. The higher education will be working a lot with contracting out professors and that sort of thing. Let's see. I decided not to go back to the University of San Francisco this summer. Have decided that if, one, with Don leaving, someone's got to be here. Don and I had worked out a schedule where he would be gone the beginning of the summer and I'd be gone towards the end, or vice versa. I guess I was going to be gone the beginning. Anyway, have decided that if I feel I want my doctorate, I should go to school and really have the time to research and study that I really can't do here. or if I want to just research, I should get a research grant and just research. So I'm going to possibly apply for school's year after next. There's quite a bit of pressure. The governor just wrote Washington to have us have more representation, and the thing might go through for me to be a grant reader in Washington, and that would be somewhere around that time also, but I don't know.
You live in Washington?
No, that would just be a week or two job. We still have our political problems here. There's no school board still. The school board appoints the superintendent of education. All that still hasn't happened. We'll have to see what happens there. Let's see. Oh, I had an interesting day. Friday, I had meetings with Guam and Senator Ogden from Guam, who's chairwoman of their HEW committee, and their director of education, and some of her key staff people came over. And we worked on arrangements between the two islands, and then went down and met with the legislature. And I was really pleased. Our Speaker of the House gave a nice reception, and then we all went out dancing, and they made a special effort to dedicate all the Chamorro songs to the Guam visitors, and I was pleased that they went so out of their way to support what we were doing. I feel very positive about that. That was Friday, and then Saturday I took them up to see the PSAT satellite, that connects the different areas in the Pacific. I've been encouraging Guam to get on the PSAT network for quite a while, so it looks like that may come through. I've hired a filmmaker for a month. Yeah, he just finished making a film in Guam on drugs. It's quite good, and I was quite impressed with his work. His aim is to be a producer and full-length film in the Pacific, and he's made some contacts in Hollywood and all this. Anyway, he's going to work for me for a month. I've been meeting with the TV, radio people here, and it looks like we're starting to do some TV programming, which I would feel good about. And working on a format just to start off with a bilingual hour where we would have a group of children do something, have some language instruction, discuss an issue in bilingual bicultural education. So anyway, that seems to be getting off the ground, and I'm not super good at knowing video equipment and filmmaking equipment and all that, so having him train the people on my staff and to handle that, and I'll just indicate what I want. They're making a training tape for me as a practice. He comes back from Guam this evening, and we'll go pick him up at the airport. He was getting his equipment and stuff. We have a lot of good bands on the island right now. The Continental Hotel has 2 bands that kind of alternate, Filipino bands. Each band one band has about 6-7 people in it, the other has about 10 or 11. And then the Intercontinental has a kind of a singing quartet kind of group. And then Half a Day has a guitar singer. And the Grand Hotel has the Italian band. And the Oleai Room has a Chamorro band. And Poppy's has a Korean band. Anyway, so with all our guests and such, I had 3 nights in a row out till 2 a.m. dancing. I'm starting to get set to do the taxes. I'll pick up the forms when I'm in Hawaii. They haven't sent me anything. It looks like I may not have to pay any taxes at all.
Why not?
Well, because somebody challenged, I think you're aware that, the trust territory there was some question as to whether it was a foreign country or not. Anyway, it was challenged, and the ruling, which was upheld, was that people in the trust territory did not have to pay taxes. You have to have been living in a foreign country a certain amount of time in order to be eligible. So what I guess I have to do is, 1, figure out my taxes, just in case I do have to pay them, so that I would have that all figured out while it was fresh in my mind. And then 2, file to get my back taxes back for the time. Except that if they withhold it and then people don't know how to file to get it back, I don't know. It's just, the family structure is so much different than stateside family structure. Incomes, it's really complicated. The job I absolutely would not want to have out here is being an auditor.
And the next job I absolutely would not want out here would be implementing the U.S. tax system. I'm kind of concerned because a lot of my friends want me to help them, and I could be a full-time tax consultant, and I just can't handle it. It's also, I really wouldn't want to give advice that might be followed that might not be correct, so there's kind of a legal question there, but hopefully the tax department will send out enough people to advise people on how to do it, but it doesn't seem like they've advised them well on record keeping to date, so we'll see on that one. Interesting to follow this at this time.
Initial draft of Audiobook 5 titled Working in the Northern Mariana Islands, Transition from Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands to Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, Bilingual Bicultural Education and Higher Education by Dr. Kit Porter Van Meter. This historical 4-year narrative is created from 36 audio tapes sent by me, Kit Porter, to my family in Massachusetts and California between 1975 and 1979. In the accompanying transcripts, each chapter is identified with the date of the tape was made and the audio tape number in the KPV collection audio inventory. Not all the tapes survived the past 50 years. Some were taped over, and some were missing or unclear. Actual recordings are at different speeds because of electrical problems. Background music from the radio and records can make it difficult to hear the words. The focus of this narrative is on my first 4 years as a contract employee in the Northern Mariana Islands, as it ceased to be administered by the U.S. Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands and became a Commonwealth of the United States. My initial work focused on directing the Title VII Chamorro and Carolinian bilingual projects. As islanders were hired to fill these roles, I was assigned to coordinate and be the State Director of Bilingual Bicultural Education, to arrange training for teachers and government employees, and be the coordinator and State Director of Higher Education. A future narrative will focus on my work establishing Northern Marianas College between 1979 and 1983. We are making this rough draft public now because I'm 80 years old and will not have time to polish it. Maybe somebody else will. My work now is to add content from reports, documents, letters, additional audio, and memories to create a more comprehensive narrative. Michael Sousa has shepherded this work for more than a decade, arranging and digitizing audio tapes, creating transcripts, combining and editing select audio, researching and selecting systems, equipment, and digital sites, and preparing these audiobooks.